Hey there, and welcome back to our Elden Ring lore playthrough, taking our time reading the item descriptions and basically just experiencing the game like it's our first time. But we're going to traverse north now towards the Mountaintop of Giants. And we basically just went along the main road of the capital where we found that giant set of double doors, and of course you can just push it open, because why wouldn't you be able to push open a giant set of double doors? But there's Misbegotten here. One, this section is like super decrepit and broken down, right? It's sort of set lower, kind of like this part here, it seems like. I mean, this is the main road. So, I mean, I guess maybe not set lower. But it does look just like, definitely a bit more beat up. But with these Misbegotten, like, why would they be here? Because, you know, they're slaves and servants of the residents of the capital, right? Only now, with everything gone even more so to shit, I guess, they've broken free and they are rebelling. And right here is a nice little section of water. Lovely. Oh, we got ourselves a big lion, Misbegotten. He actually, yeah, he is a Leonin, Misbegotten, right? Leonin. What aspect does he, like, symbolize, right? Just like a bestial aspect of it? He's got the red hair. But see, he also has this, like, lizard tail thing. And he's even got little vestigial stubs for wings, which I think most of the other ones do as well. Perfume bottles. They're pretty interesting, though, because most of the time when you find them, I mean, it's pretty few and far between. Like, you just don't see the Leonin ones very much. You see it, like, you saw one with a Crucible Knight with, in the Redmane Castle, you know, Redmanes. And, it was guarding a legendary sword. You find another one down in Castle Morn. What is it? Another legendary sword. So, like, you just don't see them very much. Like, they are definitely a bit more powerful than the others. You can hear him breathing, too. And the tail is different than this one. Like, this one also has a tail, but it's much less like... The other one really made me think kind of like lizard, or I guess maybe even serpent one, where this one's got, like, the spiny ridge and, like, pebbled hard skin. And even, like, these other little ones, they've got the same skin as the Leonin one as well, and a lot more of the red fur. Whereas this one doesn't have that red hair. It's got the pale gray hair and lots of pebbly scaled hide. Now look down here. Look how he's like praying up at this dude with a sword. Like, who is this guy, right? And is that the only statue of him here in the capital? Like, I can't think of any other spots where you find a statue of that guy, you know? Another Leonin. And look how they're all kind of praying up that direction. Why are they praying that way? What's that way? It's up towards the mountaintops. And there's a perfumer, because of course there is. Why wouldn't there be a perfumer, right? Oh my lord. It got absolutely smoked there. I decided to wade into the front lines with a little rapier. You know, the good thing about it being like 90 degrees in the room is it keeps my coffee a little bit more hot. Oh, and you can actually see a bunch of them up there if you just follow the road or the stairs up. Look how there's just a bunch that are like up kind of cheering. Some of them are like praying. There's a perfumer there. So if they like talking and like, I don't know, it is interesting that they, you know, they're not attacking the perfumer, even though, like, I'm assuming all the other, like, soldiers and maybe, like, commoners, they probably went and, like, straight murdered, right? But not the perfumers. And, I mean, there is the potential that the perfumers are trying to help them, but somebody had left a comment, you know, back when we were doing some of the Altus Plateau stuff, and we got the, like, Trisha ashes and stuff, and how, like, they were looking for cures and ways to help, you know, the Misbegotten and the others, less fortunate, whatever. But, and like, I was thinking really positive with it. Like, oh yeah, they are really trying to help and ease them. But like they said, like, who's to say it really was helpful? Like, maybe they're trying to do, like, who says they need to be saved is the point, right? Like, is there anything that's actually wrong with them, or are they just different? And now we got ourselves a nice elevator. Very much like, see, this whole elevator thing takes us up on a main road, which is a lot like a path that takes us to the Divine Towers, right? There's an elevator that goes with the Divine Bridge and the Tower of Return. It has this exact same design with these, again, that mysterious statue guy. Very judicious in where they choose to put him, I think. Very specific anyways. Always in, like, bridges and transitional areas, it seems. And look at that. Just like going up to yet another Divine Tower. And what do we see right there? A Divine Tower. You can't see it on the map. It's kind of, like, obscured. And we never noticed it before as well, because what is it blocked by? The Erd Tree. Hello, Mr. Knight. Oh no. I don't ever use the Antspur Rapier because it does the Scarlet Rot. Anytime I've seen it, it's been like PvP, and you know, they're always doing like poison bleed combos with the Scarlet Rot and shield pokes, right? Like kind of what I'm doing right now. But I'm not using it on people, and I'm not being ultra scummy with it. So there we've got, you know, a large, like, section. I don't know what you'd call that. Towery spot, right? First we get rid of the beetle. With some kind of labor, right? That's always the thing with them, right? They've got labors. He actually attacked us. And there's the tower. Again, look how it's, like, encrusted with stone on the sides. Almost like it used to be part of a wall, like a stone wall, cliff, or something, right? And there is a bridge that connects it, so we're going to go there first. Because if we look at the runes for Morgott and Mohg, right? We've got both of them, and neither one of them are active, devoid of any benediction. Seek the Divine Tower of East Altus, which stands beyond the Great Bridge from Lanedel's eastern ward. Same thing, right? Whoa. What do we find there? Look, there's a soldier, like he's got killed. Fell Twin. 2 Omen. Look how his axe is coated in like a red flame. It's blood, right? So if he hits us, are we going to suffer from blood loss? Yes. So, I mean, we can assume, right, we got 2 omens. One's got his horns all on him. This one does not. But see, the one that really kept his horns, as far as the not misbegotten, but the omens went, was Mohg and Morgott. Mohg kept his horns. But the one that had that really did the blood flame stuff on these two, didn't have his horn. So it's interesting that, like, the appearance almost seems like kind of reversed in a way. Goodbye. Omen Killer Rollo. Now we've heard of him, right? That's he was supposed to be a perfumer, right? How the Roman killers were modeled after him, and his apron was like the aprons they wore were like came from that origin. Spirit of Rollo, known as the first Omen Killer. Once a famous perfumer, Rollo imbibed a physic to rid himself of emotion, thus enabling him to enact his nightmarish labor, hunting the Omen. Right, so he took his own concoction that got rid of his emotions, all so he could hunt omens. Because, I mean, what does that tell you? That they are basically innocent. Like, it was not an easy thing to do. He had to basically turn himself into a kind of like monster in a way in order to do the job. But like, why did he do it? Like, why were I mean, is it just because they carried aspects of the Crucible? Because that's ultimately what they seem to have, right? With these horns and stuff. And even Moog and Morgott in particular carry additional signs of it with the tail, with the wings, right? And then, I mean, talking about imbibed his own physics to like change like his mentality, his own like mindset and stuff. That's what the depraved perfumers do, right? Heresy inclined perfumers imbibe their own spices to alter body and mind. And you see that like, see that twisting helix thing? The embroidery on the apron itself, on the apron is itself a curse upon the Erd tree. So that like, oftentimes we see that like double helix kind of thing. You see it with the Black Flame Greatsword, the Godslayer Greatsword, that has a black flame that the Glomai Queen wielded, has that kind of twist design. So like, are all those things supposed to be, you know, symbolic of like a curse upon the Erd tree? And why is it against the Erd trees? Because the Erd tree is like a singular thing and not a double. But here we go. We can see both runes side by side, and they are very similar, right? But look how it's almost like they're the same ones but different parts, because the circle was a line, but this one's missing this slight bit in the center, and this one is only the center piece. So they are like two parts of the same rune, really. Moog's Great Rune and Morgott's Great Rune. A Great Rune of the Shardbearer and Morgott, its blessing greatly raises maximum HP. This Great Rune is the anchor ring that houses the base, and proves two things: that the Omen King was born of the golden lineage, and that he was indeed the Lord of Lanedale. So yeah, I mean, because that's a thing about it, right? He was supposed to be a demigod, which means he has to have some kind of ties with Marika, and the fact that he has this, it proves that he is of the golden lineage, being directly born between, somewhere in the line at least, maybe not directly born, but of Marika and Godfrey. And then Moog. Its blessing grants a blessing of blood to summoned phantoms and imparts a phantom great rune upon successful invasions. Moog and Morgott are twin brothers, and their great runes are naturally similar. But Moog's rune is soaked in accursed blood from his devout love for the wretched mire that he was born into, far below the earth. Yeah, because what did he do? He embraced the curse that he was born into. But look at where all these divine towers are going, right? Divine tower, divine tower, divine tower, divine tower, right? See how they all like connect in and like all make this perimeter around the center of the lanes between. Ah, there's a spot right there. Missed it. Here we go. Ooh, close. Alright, what is that? Official's attire. A door. Blade of Calling. So is this like where some dude worked, you know, like an official, you know? I mean, it looks like it. There's a couch. I mean, yeah, it looks like an office. Like you would definitely have some kind of official dude working here. Grubby blue robe worn by magisterial officials to carry out their grim tasks. Oh. Surveillance, executions, gruesome rituals. The darkest duties drive the wheels of mankind. Interesting. So he was basically some like dirty deeder, kind of like a jobber, but like, look how he's got like the same insignia on it as like the Mirai's robe, right? See it? It's the same thing, except it's got no mantle, a black mantle worn by the head, right? So they have dark and grim, nasty duties. And then if you kind of look too, like, look at the top, see how it's got those like bandage wrappings, just like you see with the various Mirai's robes, and it would go directly with blood-soaked mask, right? A mask formed by tightly A mask formed from tightly wound bandages soaked through with blood. Even the most ghastly cover is more inviting than the festering face within. Right? See how it just goes perfectly in with there. So I wonder if they had like a kind of like leprosy or some other kind of disease thing going on. And now we have the Blade of Calling. Dagger given to one who set out on a journey to fulfill her duty long ago. The power of its former owner, the Kindling Maiden, is still apparent. The one who walks alongside flame shall one day meet the road of destined death. Its unique skill, Blade of Gold, leap into the air, charging the armament with golden flames that are then shot at the enemy as a single blade-like projectile, inflicting holy damage. Now, this weapon, right? I wasn't able to get a super good look at Melina, but look, simple curved thing. Even really, not really much for ornamentation, right? But Melina does that, and the whole animation is just like the Black Knives, right? And what is Melina's whole thing now? She found out her duty, right? Like, she found out her destiny. She didn't know what her purpose was. That was her whole point of traveling with us back to the Erd Tree. So she set out on a journey to fulfill it long ago. So maybe she kind of did it before, but now she's burned and bodiless. So maybe it kind of worked or something, right? And now, and she's the Kindling Maiden. And that's one of the things she's talking about is like the kindling to burn the Erd Tree. And she's talked about destined death as well. So, you know, maybe that's the whole thing, right? But its animation is just like the Black Knives dagger. And even her movements and stuff, like when we do the fight against Morgott and we summon her, she has the same like flowing, float-like movements and things that the Black Knives do. But she also does some other crazy, like, Erd Tree healing spell thing. So she does some crazy things. So does she have some ties with the Black Knives? And she's got some old role of, like, being a Kindling Maiden. I mean, she's trying to burn the Erd Tree so that we can become Elden Lord. That was her purpose, right? Given to her long ago by her mother inside the Erd Tree. Look at all these floating, like, red? Like, what is that, you know? Are those bits of grace? But they're kind of reddish tinged, which is interesting. Maybe red like the Crucible. But we're on the path to the Land of Giants. And of course, what are we going to find here? The Vulgar Militia. Ooh, casting bestial incantations. But why would they be here? Because this is a forbidden place. And they also cast some kind of black-red flame like Destined Death, just like the Black Blade Kindred did, who's channeling the power of Malekith, the Black Blade. Ah, look what it is. Knights Cavalry on the road to the north. Wonder if there's some kind of rhyme or reason to where the Knights Cavalry go, right? Or are they just kind of out in places that Miyazaki wanted them to be, you know? Because you don't really find others in, like, forbidden places necessarily. They're just kind of, like, around. What will he give us? Phantom Slash. Very fun one. Inspired by the fond remembrances of the Knights Cavalry. Creates an apparition of the Knight's former instructor, who provides a joint lunging upward swing. So yeah, conjures up their old mentor, and then they follow in suit. It's pretty cool. It actually tracks flying guys really well, like projection, so like birds and stuff. If you use that on them, that projection will go flying up after them. And a little illusory Erd Tree. I have to say, I like that they have so many of the like Erd Tree and seed things, because like, you know, standard say like Dark Souls 3, you know, you get your shards for the Estus Flask to give you more charges and stuff. Because it has a very focused, like more or less linear direction for you to go, the shards are always, you know, they're like in those spots where like you are going to go. And so as you just progress through the difficulties of the game, you get more shards as you get into the harder content so that you have more charges. Whereas this one, because of the open world nature, there's no like guarantee that you're going to go through X spot first, right? And so I like that there's so many scattered about so that even if you miss some in other places and you don't explore every last nook and cranny before moving on, you can find more to get more, you know, charges. Just kind of sucks when you eventually are maxed out and then you've just got a whole bunch of extra ones. But there's a summon sign, a Stake of America. We're up pretty close to where this is at, and it's a Grand Lift of Rold, but you can see there's like a division on the map, even though we don't have the map. So there's something blocking us. Oh, it's a Black Blade Kindred, another one. Because we fought one before, and it was outside of Gerank's Bestial Sanctum. I'm kind of slowpoking it right now because I'm kind of just getting my butt beat up right now. But because there is... Aha! Millicent. There she is, continuing her road, right? She's tracing the steps of, oh my god, Millennia, which leads her into this path here to the Mountaintops of Giants. Now, of course, my Rot Bleed Rapier is absolutely useless here because, of course, look at that cool move she does. I would like to break his poise, but of course I've got little dinky Rapier, so of course it's got awful poise damage. We're gonna have to swap it. One more hit. Oh, Millicent right at the end. Oh. But we did it. What does it give us? Black Blades and the Black Axe. Probably same thing as like the other one, say gargoyle bronze weapons covered with black wax, signifying their allegiance to those who serve Malekith, the Black Blade. Yep, same thing. Again, really annoying. This one, what does it do? Spinning slash. What does the axe do? War cry. So it's like, it's so obnoxious that it just doesn't actually do anything like different, you know? But here we are. Big entranceway. Super hard to see because, of course, it's night. But you can see it's still got the same designs as like the big walkway up to the Capitol and some of those sections, as well as the other lift to get to the Altus Plateau. So both, there's like two ends to the plateau, and they both have big lift elevator things that take you up and down to reach it. And of course, a finger maiden, or a finger maiden, finger reader.
Please, you turn back. Ahead lies the land of the giant's flame, and the way forth is forbidden. Hear me. The burning of the Erd tree is the first cardinal sin. Doing so will unbind destined death and slay the world itself. Who would dare put you up to such a task? Most certainly not the fingers. You.
Yeah, the thing is, though, right? Like, I mean, the fingers aren't answering. Who's to say what is cardinal sin will remain cardinal forever, right? And the burning of the Erd tree is the first cardinal sin. What's the second one, right? Oh yeah, there's that kind of like king-like figure again with big branching spear things and bowls in their hands. That's not the same as what's in the other one, is it? So we can hoist the medallion. And then what's over here? Same. Oh, these are like the sentinel warrior looking ones, right? Kind of like the tree sentinels in a way. Yeah. All right, let's hoist it. This one's a very red gem. The one going up to the Altus, and he's got like a, interesting. He's got like an apron looking spot too, or tree like things on it as well. Red gem, the one that goes up to the altar from Liurnia, is like very orangey amber looking. It's interesting too, is like on their headdress thing, it had like 3 additional, or like maybe 1 additional dot. It almost looked like he had 3 eyes. What can we see over here, I wonder? Back towards the Erd tree, right? Yeah, look how it like... It's like the, because that's part of the Divine Bridge, right? We... Get a Yaku. Torrent, whatever your name is, right? So that's the whole capital, right? And it's got like an arch design to it. Right? There's a dragon fortisax, a boulder stone. But look how, like, with this wall section here, like, that part up along there goes up and it meets us at the Erd tree, at its trunk. But then we got this part here, goes out, and it's almost like wrapping around it with the Divine Tower. And you can actually see just little bits of the minor Erd trees out and about the landscape. And look at these floating ethereal trees, and there's the moon looming there in the distance. Don't trust the moon. Oh, and look there, a body. Speared, looks like a building up there too. Secret item. Beast blood. And here we are. The mountaintop of the giants. Mountaintops. Look at these, like... See, we did see these in the distance, right? And they remind me so much of what we see underground, beneath the earth, around the eternal cities, right? Those broken, like, tree sections. Walking mausoleum, some kind of settlement building there, right? Way down low and foggy looking. Far off to the west, though. Spectral beasts, which again reminds us way down by the the underground city of Nokron and Shifa River, where we also see broken tree trunks, spiritual animals. Now, these spectral trees, you know what they kind of remind me of are those banners that we see around Radahn's arena, as well as up and around the capital. Spectral birds, and right there, a Zamor warrior. And here's our side of grace, and a friend to greet us. It's Yura. Only Yura died. So who's this dude?
Finally, we meet the Tarnished, who would be Lord. Oh my. Why the long face? I fear that you were previously acquainted with this vessel. Well, that is most unfortunate. For he is dead. As for his flesh, he gave it to me. Shabriri, I hope you can make your peace with that.
So it's not Yura, it's Shabriri. Look how he's like covering his face. And he speaks so slowly and so calmly, right? Like there's big delays in there. He gave it to me. Shabriri. Like very, very long delayed things. Now, it's super sketch immediately hearing about this being Shabriri. One, that his body was given to him. Like he gave him his body, really? Did he like say that before he died? He's like, all right, hey Shabriri, when I go, you can have this, right? I mean, it's possible. He could have, I suppose. But it seems a little unlikely, right? But then we also have this Shabriri's woe. Likeness of a man whose eyes have been gouged out, and a flame of frenzy came to dwell in the empty socket. So immediately, the flame of frenzy and like madness, right? And this dude saying he's Shabriri.
You were about to sacrifice something precious, the life of a fair maiden, that you would toss into the fiery forge, only so that you may be lord. What a horrible thing to ponder. Your ascendancy requires her sacrifice, whether she wishes it or not. But how would the Lord, crowned so, be looked upon?
I mean, we didn't have that idea at all. Like, she came up to us and said, it was like, hey, you need to burn the Erd tree. And what do you need? You need kindling. Don't worry about the kindling. I got it. And then what's the Blade of Calling say? It says, well, you know, the kindling of a maiden, right? The kindling maiden. Yeah, the kindling maiden. And I mean, she must be special. I mean, she came back as a spirit to fulfill some purpose given to her in the Erd tree, right? And even Enya is like, you'll need special kindling to do this. So it's not really our fault that, like, that's the solution. We didn't come up with it. It's been told to us. We don't have any other choices right now, right? And he's like, yeah, how would anybody respect you for doing that, right? Sacrificing some fair maiden.
Chosen, tarnished, and would-be lord, dare to tread the path of true rigor. Spare the poor girl, and singe your own flesh in her stead. If you are prepared to show resolve and attain lordship through righteous hardship, then heed the words of I, Shabriri.
So that line there, it really ties in with some of the other things we see where, like, the Finger Maidens talk about, like, oh, are you going to take the coward's way, or are you going to go this other route? Are you going to do this, you know, take the true road of lordship? And it's even, like, giving me some call-outs to, like, a little bit was, like, Tanith, where she's, like, tread the path of a champion. It might be dirty and sully, right? They're always talking about these, like, these righteous paths and stuff in order to be, like, a true champion, a true lord, right? And so he says, heed my words. I, Shabriri.
Chosen, tarnished, and would-be lord, descend into the depths far below the Erd Tree capital. Seek audience with the three fingers and the flame of frenzy. If you inherit the flame of frenzy, your flesh will serve as kindling, and the girl can be spared, setting you on the righteous path of lordship, the path of the Lord of Chaos. Burn the Erd Tree to the ground and incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. Ah, may chaos take the world. May chaos take the world!
All right. So he wants us to go below the capital to seek an audience with the maddening three fingers and the flame of frenzy. And I think we've gotten some pieces before that hinted that there was something beneath the capital, right? And we've been a bit below it because we went underneath with the sewers where we found Moog, you know, Moog. And he's saying, you know, you seek that with them and they'll empower you to, like, be your own kindling to burn the Erd Tree. And that way she doesn't have to do it. And I mean, all the way up through there, pretty on board. I was like, okay, you know what? Makes sense. We could save Melina. We could spare her the whole trial. But then he starts talking about become the Lord of Chaos, because that's flame of frenzy, madness, chaos, I guess. And then incinerate all that divides and distinguishes, make chaos take the world. And so up till then, he is pretty, like, calm, slow, and rational. And then as he really gets to his full point, he, like, can't seem to control himself, and he's basically ranting.
Chosen, tarnished, and would-be lord, descend and seek.
Yeah, so I would, like, almost trust him until he starts doing that. And, like, the mask slips, because that's what he's basically doing. He's wearing a mask of calmness instead of this, like, fanatic chaos. Talk to Melina. Look at that view, too, with the clouds and stuff.
There is something I'd like to say. My purpose was given to me by my mother.
Right.
But now, I act of my own volition. I have set my heart upon the world that I would have. Regardless, of my mother's designs. I won't allow anyone to speak ill of that. Not even you.
I haven't said nothing. So, right, so she's basically saying, you know, she had a purpose given to her by her mother. This is my job. This is what I have to do, right? But now she's doing it because she wants to. So I wonder if when she became burned and bodiless, like, right, maybe she had her purpose, because that dagger is almost implying she already, like, kindled once, right? And maybe it didn't stick. I don't know. Maybe that explains why there's so much ash around the capital. And so that was her fulfilling her initial purpose, or trying to. But now she's back, and she couldn't remember what her purpose was, and she found out, and she figured it out. And she's sticking to it. She's still doubling down. She's like, all right, I'm still going to do it, but not because of what my mother wants or her plans, but because in doing so, it can help set out for some world that I want, which I can absolutely respect. We are at the Zamor Ruins. All right, that is where we're going to call it. That's the end for this one. Thank you guys for joining me. We're going to start going up here into the mountaintops a little bit, and then maybe here at some point we'll go down and look for that Flame of Frenzy, huh? Until then, take care.